Alright everybody, welcome back to Conqueror Commander. Today I'm going to be going over my completed Halfdane deck. I did show a video a while back of this deck in its early stages, but I finally got around to finishing it and setting it up how I wanted. This deck came about because of the new rules changes regarding legendary creatures. As everybody knows, legendary creatures used to be there could only be one of that creature out on the dance floor, essentially. But now everybody can have their own copy of a Chroma or Ural the Miststalker or whatever. So basically, a while back, somebody in one of my articles, and just in case you guys don't know or don't realize, I do write articles for puremtgo.com, and where I outline and talk a little bit about the gameplay and stuff like that. So back when I was doing my Atamaro group, somebody back here asked about Halfdane with tribal shapeshifters, and so he was looking for a tribal deck based around it, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. So what I decided to do was incorporate the shapeshifter idea with all the new clones and see how this would do in the new environment. So here's the deck list, which should be going up soon. I'll put a link in the video description so you can see it all nice and neat. But let's just take a look at what I did here. The deck's changed a little bit since that one video, but essentially here's all my straight up clones. It's got Quicksilver Gargantuan, Stolen Identity, Duplicate, Body Double, Vesuvan Doppelganger and Shapeshifter, Sakushima Student, Sakushima Phantasmal Image, Shapesharer, Evil Twin Clone, Rite of Electrocution, Phyrexian Metamorph, Dimir Doppelganger, and Thespian Stage. Early on, I also had like Copy Artifact and Copy Enchantment. Those cards just didn't do enough. I guess I could have gone mono blue, but I liked being able to do the Shapeshifter Tribal and and using Halfdane seemed cool. Halfdane himself isn't that great, I'll be honest, but he's an old school guy and he's fun. So on top of all those guys, there's a couple other shapeshifters: Aetherling, Karen Wanderer, and Mirror Entity. They're all decent shapeshifters. There's a bunch of shapeshifters I didn't put in the deck, and I'll go over those at the end. Our removal consists of Austere Command, Damnation, Mortify, Vindicate, Revoke Existence. I went with Revoke Existence over Return to Dust just because I was concerned about mana cost issues. Swords of Plowshares, Path to Exile, Condemn, Strip Mine, Bajuka Bog, Withered Wretch, and then Duplicate, of course, is removable, as well as Evil Twin. On top of that, we got a bunch of card draw, Time Spirals in the deck because it's just better than Time Reversal. Graveborn Muse. I put Jace the Mind Sculptor in here because at first I was thinking about the 5-mana Jace. I can't remember if it's Jace Architect of Thought or Jace Memory Adept, one of those guys. And I was like, you know what? I never used the Mind Sculptor. I figure I might as well put him in this deck. And he actually turned out alright. I was able to protect him pretty well, so I was happy with that. Jace Bellerin, of course, Rhystic Study, Phyrexian Arena, Muldrifter, Ancestral Vision, Skull Clamp, and Mystic Remora. Skull Clamp, not sure it really belongs in this deck. I can't really abuse it very well. But I liked that it was 1 mana and cheap, so I kept it in here. I guess you could pull it for some other form of cheap draw. Yeah, I'm not sure, honestly, about that one. Since I'm in Esper colors, I'm not going to be able to ramp too much, so this is all my mana help. Solemn Simulacrum, Dark Steel Ingot, Coalition Relic, Fellbar Stone. May seem a little goofy, but I liked the fact that it came out for 2 mana and it tapped immediately. Most of the time there's going to be blue at the table, and this deck is primarily blue, so that's going to help you out. Weathered Wayfarer, Soul Ring, and Expedition Map round that out. Now, because I was playing with Karen Wanderer, I wanted a couple cards with just like a lot of keywords, and I also wanted stuff that just was like cool that I could either throw in the graveyard with to body double, or if I really needed to Dimir Doppelganger. So that's what these guys are: Sphinx of the Steel Wind, is awesome. Especially, I did manage to ride a replication him kicked once, and it ended the game quickly. Unfortunately, that game crashed when I tried to use the replay, and I couldn't show that one. Achroma is good. The only problem with Achroma, she's got a crap load of keywords as well, but again, you can't copy her yourself if she's already in play. Mirren Crusader, kind of iffy, but I liked all the keywords. Shadow Mage Infiltrator, the only keyword is fear, but that's usually good enough, plus he draws cards. Vampire Nighthawk, again, another keyword guy as well. And, all these other guys are good to copy. Now, I did early on have like more of a graveyard recursion aspect to the deck, putting a lot more stuff in the graveyard, but I kind of toned that down a little bit. However, I do still have some recursion in Karmic Guide, Phyrexian Reclamation, Volrath Stronghold. Revelark was good because a lot of the clone type cards have low power, like Evil Twin and stuff like that. So I liked Revelark for that. These are my tutors. I had Buried Alive in here at one point, and it just wasn't good enough. Mainly because I never needed that many cards to be put in my graveyard at once. So I just went with Entomb and Intuition, because at least I get a card in my hand with that. There's also Vampiric Tutor and Demonic Tutor. These two are not tutors, but they're the only counterspells in my deck. Counterspell and Mana Drain. On top of that, we've got some basic utility. Lightning Greaves is good. Cyclonic Greaves is good. Deadeye Navigator and Venser are there to reset any of my clones by bouncing them if something new or better comes into play. And both of them worked really well in the deck. They worked well. Somebody recommended Venser when I showed the live gameplay previously, and he worked out awesome, so thanks, whoever you are. Nameless subscriber. Take credit in the comments. And then the mana base is pretty standard stuff. I did add some extra fetch lands just because of the Mind Sculptor's brainstorm ability. So I liked that. Probably the clone that did the least work was who was it? It was Shapeshifter, because you don't get the enters the battlefield trigger with him. But you know what? He is able to copy big fat stuff when it's already in play. So that's good as well. As you can probably imagine, the deck is really highly dependent upon your opponents playing good stuff, good creatures. If they're playing a mainly creatureless control deck, you're kind of screwed. I mean, you've really only got two big beaters in the deck, and Achroma and Sphinx of the Steel Wind. There's a decent amount of card draw in the deck, but it's just, without somebody else playing like a Bogart and Hellkite or a Runescarred Demon or something like that for you to copy and then mess around with, the deck just doesn't get nearly as good. The deck's not like a super powerhouse, but it is kind of fun to play if you like being able to copy stuff. Some of the these are all the shapeshifters that didn't make the cut. Body doubles in the deck, obviously. Crib Swap I included at first, but it's just too expensive and not necessary, even if it is tribal shapeshifter. Cryptoplasm had the same problem as Shapesharer. However, you had to wait a full turn before you could copy anything, while Shapesharer could copy something immediately. Lazav was originally in the deck, and just, I didn't have enough pinpoint destruction to really take advantage of him, so I took him out. Morphling, unfortunately, isn't as good as Aetherling, and just didn't do enough, and is mana intensive as well, so he didn't make the cut. Cemetery Puka, I guess I don't own a copy, but had the same problem as Lazav. Let's see what else is in here. That's mainly it. I mean, there's some other goofy stuff like Volrath Shapeshifter and Shifty Doppelganger and stuff like that, but they just, Volrath himself, they just didn't do enough for me. Like I said, the deck really needs like your opponents to play fat dudes. And we'll take a look at the curve right here real quick. So the curve's 3.43. As you can see, I got things to kind of like roll down a little bit more. The curve is actually high mainly because I've got a Chroma and Sphinx of the Steel Wind. If you wanted to do, I had Blood Baron of Viscopa in here at one point, and I didn't like him that much in this deck. Just didn't do enough. So there we go. I had a couple games where like I was able to like somebody was playing like a Zerlin deck and just I was copying dragon after dragon and bouncing stuff and it was friggin' awesome. Of course that game the replay crapped out as well. So I am gonna have a couple replays for you just so you can see how it turned out. And hopefully you guys enjoy it. Alright, thanks a lot.